Nobody is owed South Africa, not even the countries that helped us end apartheid.
Especially regarding the inconvenience they are causing. Despite the fact that their government did absolutely nothing to help us during apartheid.
So what happens when the history of a country is forgotten, or when the Gen Zs did not come to meet this story and do not even believe that it exists?
Nigerian starving journalists wrote articles about how they helped South Africa with $61 billion to end apartheid, but there's no evidence and there are no receipts for anything that they're saying.
Or what if they've heard this story, but they still decide to twist the story to meet their daily needs and routine?
Our journalists have never written about it, our politicians have never written about it, our struggle heroes have never written about it. Nelson Mandela has never said anything about it. Chris Hani and Steve Biko have never said anything about it. With the living ones, Julius Malema, Jacob Zuma, Cyril Ramaphosa, and anybody that's still living, they don't know anything about it. It's not even in our history books.
Because right now, a powerful message is coming out of Ghana, and it is directed straight at South Africans.
Let me read from page 295 of Nelson Mandela's book, Long Walk to Freedom. He said, "In my address, I thanked the assembled nations for exerting pressure on South Africa, citing in particular Ghana, Nigeria, and Tanganyika."
And this is because after rising tensions and heated debate, Ghana's Foreign Affairs Minister has responded not with anger, but with history. And what he revealed is changing the entire conversation. And all that you gotta do is to like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. Now let's get into the story.
Guys, if you've enjoyed this video so far, please do me a huge favor and hit the like button and subscribe. These videos take quite a long time to make, so if you could help me out, I'll love you forever. Thank you all for your support. Now let's get back to this crazy story.
Ghanaian government has actually written a letter summoning our government. You heard me correct, summoning them. And I'm so disappointed in the South African government, but we have like a very, very myopic government. But now why would our government choose to make that man a victim of something that didn't happen? The Minister of Police, an entire Minister of Police, just issued a statement lying, saying that there were attacks on Ghanaians.
Now, this conversation started about migration and how people are treating other migrants in other countries. And the conversation actually began after growing tensions surrounding migration and the treatment of an African national in South Africa. Questions were asked, debate intensified, and emotions started to rise across borders. But Ghana didn't stay silent. In the midst of the tension, Ghana has decided to set a record straight on the history of South Africa. Now, this is important because many South Africans do not know of their history.
Nigerian starving journalists wrote articles about how they helped South Africa with $61 billion to end apartheid, but there's no evidence and there are no receipts for anything that they're saying. Our journalists have never written about it, our politicians have never written about it, our struggle heroes have never written about it. Nelson Mandela has never said anything about it, Chris Hani and Steve Biko have never said anything about it. With the living ones, Julius Malema, Jacob Zuma, Cyril Ramaphosa, and anybody that's still living, they don't know anything about it. It's not even in our history books. When our struggle heroes were talking about countries that came through for us significantly in terms of finances, Nigeria was not even in the top 10. So who knows anything about this Nigerian assistance to South Africa during apartheid? Nobody but Nigerians and their fake starving journalists who cannot even afford to buy rice without taking a loan. The only thing Nigerians did for us was giving our freedom fighters 300 passports to be able to travel abroad during the apartheid era, and in return, South Africa has made it possible after 1994 for Nigerians to come into South Africa without a hassle, to come and take advantage of the employment opportunities in South Africa, which resulted into 24,000 Nigerians living and working in South Africa from 1994 to 2011. So we do not owe Nigerians anything. And even if you take a look at the top African countries that helped us during apartheid, like Zambia and Tanzania, their people don't come to our country and sell drugs, steal, kidnap, rape, and do all this kind of rubbish that Nigerians are doing. Their people come to our country and respect our laws and contribute positively to our economy as they're helping themselves simultaneously. Just go to Google and search anything about the financial assistance from Nigeria to South Africa during the apartheid era. And through each and every article that you're going to find, check the author, check the writer. It's always a Nigerian journalist. So nobody knows anything about that and nobody can write anything about that except Nigerians themselves. Even Julius Malema, who loves Nigerians so bad, has given Nigerians a warning to stop spreading fake news about how they helped South Africa during apartheid. How is it possible that they say they helped us with $61 billion when their GDP couldn't even get to $50 billion from 1990 to 1995, when their national budget has never surpassed $50 billion in any given year?
Even those who know have decided to ignore it, and those who also know it have decided to change their story. Personally, I've seen so many stories on TikTok of some South Africans telling a different narrative of what happens during the ANC apartheid regime.
Especially regarding the inconvenience they are causing. Despite the fact that their government did absolutely nothing to help us during apartheid, Zimbabweans are the most vocal. Their audacity and sense of entitlement are disgusting, to say the least. The fact is, Mugabe flatly refused to support the ANC, citing it wasn't his fight and that he didn't want to damage his relations with the apartheid regime.
Some of them have denied outright that any African countries even helped them. Others have also shaped the narrative to include only 3 or few South Africans like Zimbabwe, and about 3 of them neglecting what Ghana, Nigeria, and the rest of Africa did to support South Africa.
Nobody is owed South Africa, not even the countries that helped us end apartheid.
But in all of this, the good thing is that there are even video and documented evidence which are plain, which South African can just take the book and read or even watch the videos. There are videos of Nelson Mandela going to other African countries, thanking them and mentioning how they supported South Africa. But yet, the people are still saying, no, it is not like that. And this is the next video of the president, Jerry John Rawlings, counting how he supported South Africa with $1 million.
What's his name? Mandela. Time I hear war Akonyano Obaha on 2 occasions. Second occasion, or Yasika, they breach into the bank. You're 1 million man. Non go here no. Multi-party democracy. Yes. Okay, he went to lots of places. They gave him good money, as well as for his foundation. We could only afford 1 million.
But a lot of South Africans are still doubting and are still saying that no, this history don't exist. Hey, with all these videos, it doesn't exist. Okay, now let's come to the real fact. So the Ghana Foreign Affairs Minister has decided to take South Africans on a history school on their culture. Now, this is a documented evidence in a book which was written by the first president of South Africa, Nelson Mandela. In fact, he was the one who received all this help. And it is good that he wrote a book, because without this book, this story will continue to be twisted here and there. The book is titled The Long Walk to Freedom. And in the book, he's talked about how South Africa walked from apartheid and then eventually walked from apartheid, and how other African countries supported them and the exact help that they gave to them. And in a powerful reminder that Africa's freedom was built on unity, not division, Ghana's Foreign Affairs reminded them to turn their book. So if you have the book, Long Walk to Freedom, open to page 215. Now, page 215 talks about how Nelson Mandela was given money and other support from other countries. And Africans didn't disappoint him. In fact, they gave him the needed support.
This lady has to be taught some history. The Africans you are targeting today are the very people responsible for your liberation. It is us who came together, joined forces. Indeed, if you read Nelson Mandela's book, and I brought a copy here, Long Walk to Freedom, the Madiba, Nelson Mandela, who led the liberation struggle in South Africa against apartheid, acknowledges the role of Ghana and many other African countries in supporting the ANC. that led to the liberation of Jacinta and all of these people. And this is not how you show appreciation. Let me read from page 295 of Nelson Mandela's book, Long Walk to Freedom. When he traveled to Ethiopia to address the OAU in the early 60s. This is what he had to say about Ghana. He said, in my address, I thanked the assembled nations for exerting pressure on South Africa, citing in particular Ghana, Nigeria, and Tanganyika. You know, Tanganyika is now Tanzania. Tanganyika and Zanzibar merged to now have modern day Tanzania. Who spearheaded the successful drive to oust South Africa from the British Commonwealth. This is Nelson Mandela addressing African leaders and thanking Ghana, thanking Nigeria, thanking modern day Tanzania for the lead role we played in liberating our brothers and sisters in South Africa. After this address, Nelson Mandela and Oliver Tambo decided to tour the whole of Africa, seeking support, because they had then decided that, look, the ANC must now move up in terms of its strategies. It must now mobilize, form an army. They must escalate to boldly confront the apartheid regime, because the massacre, the killings of blacks was no longer tenable. Where did they get their support from? African countries.
True.
And Nelson Mandela documents them country by country in his book. For example, if you come to page 300, he says, in Liberia, I met with President Tubman, who not only gave me $5,000 for weapons and training, but said in a quiet voice, quote, have you any pocket money? I confessed that I was a bit low, and instantly an aide came back with an envelope containing $400 in cash. From Liberia, I went to Ghana, where I was met by Oliver Tambo and entertained by Guinea's resident minister, Abdoulaye Diallo. And he documents leader after leader. In Senegal, he spoke highly of President Senghor. And he said, in the end, President Senghor furnished me. I'm reading from page 302. President Senghor furnished me with a diplomatic passport and paid for our plane fares from Dakar to our next destination in London. And this is how they left Africa. Ghana, if you come to the foreign ministry where I lead, we have a tall list of South Africans we issued Ghanaian passports to, because they had been declared stateless. We had to give them aliases so that they can go around, mobilize. It is really condemnable to see that particularly West Africans have come under another round of xenophobic attacks in South Africa.
I also join you, Minister, in condemning the recent xenophobic attacks of West Africans in the Republic of South Africa, and urge that the South African government address this matter within the framework of humanitarian law and African solidarity.
Headquarters in those places. Someone says, don't tell us about Nigerians. You even go to an extent of saying Nigerians gave us money for our liberation. It's true. From the civil servants of Nigeria, monies were deducted from them to support the liberation of South Africa. So today we are in a comfortable place. We say we don't want them.
The warm welcome I have received from the government and the people of Nigeria of this crowd here. On my way from the airport, I was met by thousands of cheering Nigerians, which convinced me that I was not only among friends, but I had come home. I was last year in Nigeria in April 1962. Equally important, as you know, I have been in prison for 27 years. Many governments, many organizations, many individuals called for my release. Loudest in that call was the government and people of Nigeria. Here of the government and people of Nigeria. Nigeria has given us a lot of financial and material support. They have assisted us not only in the form of funds, and in that respect, they have been among the most generous donors to our coffers. They have also assisted us in the form of teachers, doctors, architects, and they have given scholarships to our children to study in the universities of this country.